Most people already sleep 7 to 8 hours a night and get to bed at a decent time, and still wake up exhausted. They need caffeine to feel normal, they lose motivation to do hard things within 20 minutes, and feel drained during the day but somehow wired and can't fall asleep at night, even though on paper they're doing everything right. The problem is that duration was never the variable that actually mattered. Your sleep has an internal architecture. It's a sequence of biological stages, and each one runs a completely different program. Hormone production, memory consolidation, emotional regulation, physical recovery. These stages aren't distributed evenly. They follow a specific pattern across the night, and when that pattern breaks, it doesn't matter how many hours you spend asleep. You can sleep 8 hours and still get almost none of what your brain was supposed to do during those 8 hours. And this isn't rare either. Research using validated sleep quality measures found that less than a third of people report highly restorative sleep, meaning that the majority are sleeping enough hours but not getting what those hours are actually supposed to deliver. In this video, I'm going to cover what's actually happening when you sleep, what each sleep stage does, what's disrupting it, and a complete protocol to optimize it. Every night, your brain cycles through a sequence of stages. There's N1, which is your brief transition into sleep, N2, which is light sleep, where your brain starts producing sleep spindles that gate out sensory input, N3, which is your deep slow-wave sleep, and REM, where your brain activity looks almost the same as when you're awake. A full cycle takes around 90 minutes, and you go through about 4 to 6 of these cycles every night. But the thing most people don't understand is that these stages are not evenly distributed. Your slow-wave sleep is front-loaded and concentrated in the first half of your night, and REM sleep is back-loaded and it gets longer and longer in the second half of your night. One study split the night in half and found that slow-wave sleep time was roughly 5 times greater in early sleep than in late sleep, and REM time was about twice as long in your late sleep compared to early sleep. This means that the first half and the second half of your night are running fundamentally different biological programs, and if something disrupts either half, you lose what that half was supposed to do, even if your total sleep hours are fine. So what does each program actually do? This is where the heavy biological work runs. About 60 to 70% of your daily growth hormone secretion happens during your early sleep, which is directly tied to your slow wave activity. This isn't optional for recovery. It is the window where your body physically repairs itself. During slow wave sleep, your hippocampus replays information you encoded during the day, and it transfers it to your cortex for long-term storage. This is called active systems consolidation, and it's where your slow wave oscillations coordinate with sleep spindles and hippocampal ripples to physically move memories from short-term to long-term networks. Without this process, any studying you do will not stick. Your brain has a system for flushing out metabolic waste, including beta amyloid, which accumulates while you're awake. Research in humans has shown that large waves of cerebrospinal fluid flow through your brain during non-REM sleep, timed to your slow-wave activity. A single night of sleep deprivation has been shown to interfere with this clearance process. Now, I should be clear here, the most detailed mechanistic work on this clearance system comes from animal studies. The human evidence is still strong, but it's still developing. Your overnight testosterone rise depends on intact sleep architecture, not just one stage, but the whole sequence running properly. A 2011 JAMA study had young, healthy men sleep only 5 hours a night for 1 week. Their daytime testosterone dropped by 10 to 15%, which researchers compared to the decline you'd normally see after aging 10 to 15 years. REM is where your brain handles the emotional and procedural side. Research has shown that REM physiology is associated with the reduction in how reactive your amygdala is to emotional stimuli the next day. In simple terms, REM helps you take emotional charge off what happened to you. When REM is selectively disrupted, studies show enhanced emotional reactivity. You feel things more intensely, you react faster, and your stress tolerance is lower. REM also contributes to motor skill and procedural memory consolidation. So if you're training, practicing, building a skill, the back half of your night is where that integration happens. This distribution is extremely important because if you go to bed late and cut your night short, you're cutting REM-heavy sleep. If something disrupts the first half of your night, you're losing your deepest slow-wave sleep cycles, where growth hormone, memory consolidation, and waste clearance happen. Same total hours, but completely different outcomes depending on which part of your architecture this hit. So if architecture matters more than duration, the question becomes what actually breaks it. Your cortisol is supposed to peak in the morning and drop to near zero by night. When it stays elevated into the evening, it will directly interfere with your ability to enter and maintain your slow wave sleep. Your brain physically cannot drop into deep sleep while your system is still in an activated state. The thing that most people don't understand here is that chronic stress doesn't just mean you're panicking or in a crisis. It means social anxiety, academic pressure that never fully shuts off, overtraining without enough recovery, or spending your whole evening in a low-grade state of worry or stimulation. These aren't dramatic and they're subtle, but the research shows that they create the same kind of sleep fragmentation. More awakenings, more time in light sleep, and less stable deep sleep and REM, even when your total time to sleep looks normal. The usual advice you'll hear is to avoid blue light at night, and that's part of it, but it's actually the smaller part. The bigger problem is that most people don't get enough bright light during the day. Your circadian clock calibrates off the contrast between bright days and dark nights. If you spend your day inside under dim artificial light and the muse streams at night, the signal is flat. Your brain won't distinguish day from night, and your melatonin onset will get pushed later. The fix isn't just dimming your screens at night, it's getting actual bright light exposure in the morning to anchor your clock. Your core body temperature needs to drop for sleep onset. This is mediated by vasodilation, where your body pushes heat out through your hands and feet. If your room is too warm, then this process will stall and your slow wave sleep and REM will both get fragmented by heat-driven awakenings. The research supports keeping your room cool. For most people, the optimal range is 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, though the exact number will vary from person to person. This is the disruptor that most people don't realize is active. Caffeine blocks your adenosine receptors, which directly reduces your slow wave sleep depth, specifically the first non-REM cycle, exactly when your deepest sleep is supposed to happen. A study gave people 400 milligrams of caffeine around 6 hours before they went to sleep. The result was that their sleep was significantly disrupted, and a key part is that people can fall asleep fine on caffeine and subjectively feel like they slept fine while their architecture is degraded. You won't feel the deep sleep you've lost. Going to sleep at a consistent time matters more than how long you sleep. A study tracking college students found that irregular sleep and wake patterns were associated with delayed circadian timing and significantly worse academic performance. A larger prospective study found that sleep regularity predicted health outcomes more strongly than sleep duration did. When your timing shifts, your brain doesn't know when to queue up slow wave cycles early and REM cycles late. Your architecture gets fragmented. This isn't a list of sleep tips. Every step is designed to protect a specific part of the architecture we just covered. First, bright light within the first 30 minutes after you get up. At least 10 minutes outside or under a strong light. This is the single most effective circadian anchor, and it sets the contrast that tells your brain when night is. Caffeine cut off 8 to 10 hours before you go to sleep. Not because you can't fall asleep on caffeine, but because it will flatten your first deep sleep cycle without you knowing it. If you go to bed at 10, your last caffeine should be noon, maybe 2 p.m. at the latest. Third, finish your last intense training session at least 4 hours before you go to sleep. Exercise is one of the strongest sleep improvers overall, but late high-intensity sessions will raise your core body temperature and cortisol, and both need time to clear before your system can drop into slow-wave sleep. Your room temperature should be set to 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. If you use a hot bath or shower, take it 60 to 90 minutes before bed, not right before. The research shows warm bathing in that window will shorten your sleep latency by about 36% because of the rebound cooling effect that helps your core temperature drop at the right time. Lower your ambient lighting. And this part isn't just about screens. Things like a stressful conversation, intense game, or anything that spikes your arousal system will delay your slow wave entry regardless of blue light. Consistent sleep and wake times, 7 days a week. Yes, weekends too. The weekend sleep-in shifts your circadian timing so that Monday and Tuesday's sleep is fragmented. This is the single hardest part of the protocol and also the single most impactful. Target 7.5 to 9 hours per night. The right number for you is the one where you wake up naturally without an alarm. People think of sleep as downtime or something passive, But sleep is the most biologically active period of your entire day. Your brain is consolidating everything you've learned, producing growth hormone, clearing metabolic waste, regulating your hormones, processing the emotional load of your day, and all of it runs on the architecture, the specific sequence of stages cycling in the right order, at the right depth, and at the right time. While you protect that architecture, you're not just sleeping better, you are upgrading the foundation that your testosterone focused recovery and your ability to learn all compound on top of. Perfect sleep is built on the right architecture, not just 8 hours.